Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Work Camping Q&A session. I'm Jody Anderson Duquette here with Workamper News. I'm the Executive Director, one of the co-owners here. And today we're going to talk all about work camping. So for those of you who are attending live, appreciate you being online live with us. And so just going to give you a little bit of housekeeping here. If you are attending on a computer, like a laptop or a desktop, you should hopefully see my smiling, talking face here, as well as my PowerPoint screen. And if you click between the two, you can kind of drag to make one window bigger than the other. If you're on a phone or tablet device, you can swipe between the video and my PowerPoint. Just go ahead and swipe on your screen, and that should move you between those. We had a lot of questions submitted ahead of time. A great number of folks registered for today's webinar. So many of you submitted those questions with your registration, which is awesome. And so likely those questions are going to fill the hour or so that we'll take today to answer questions. But if you do want to share anything, those of you who are live with us, feel free. There's an option in your control panel there on the screen, or tap that questions option at the bottom of your smartphone or tablet. So we are recording this. We record all the webinars that we do, put them on our YouTube channel in the media library at workamper.com. So that way you guys will be able to check this out later. So a big variety of videos available in those two avenues as well. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and click to my next screen here. And just for those of you who are not familiar, Workamper News, we are the entity that created the term work camping. Way back in 1987. And so we're the originator of the industry, created the community, and got things started. So I myself have been working with Workampers for about 17 years now, and work with both Workampers and employers. So we get to enjoy the perspectives from both sides. So with Workamper News, how we can help work campers live their travel dreams, we have the best toolkit that makes it easier and gives you guys confidence in moving forward into this great lifestyle. So we have job finding tools, of course. We have more job listings than you'll find anywhere else online, much better organized and easier to get through. We also have employer research tools, so you can research those employers to help you make that decision if it's going to be the right opportunity for you. But most of all, what we like to focus on is kind of just the education. We want you guys to be prepared and, like I said, have confidence in knowing what to do, when to do it, how to do it. It's already scary making that transition to the RV and work camping lifestyle. So we want to take away some of that fear again and just build up your peace of mind in moving forward into this exciting adventure that you guys are going to be doing. So we have videos, articles, online courses as well. Going through, preparing yourself mentally, as well as kind of the nuts and bolts on the RV and work camping lifestyle. Because like I said, we're here to help you make your dreams come true, and that's what we're passionate about. So we have a lot of resources, tools, and we're the only professional membership organization helping out work campers. So you're welcome to call our office, send us an email, communicate with us via social media. We're a small team of 6, but we're happy to help all of our members with questions, whether it's using our website, workamper.com, or just general questions about the lifestyle. We love to help out. So, all right, let's jump into some more specific questions here. Oh gosh, jumped right ahead. Okay. All right, so of course, many folks, as a lot of you are maybe just researching this lifestyle or just getting ready to start out, how do I even go about finding a job? And what's the best way to verify jobs and research employers? So we have on our YouTube channel, and I'll just bring this up real quick to kind of show you guys. So if you go to YouTube and search for Workamper News, you can get to our YouTube channel. And this is what it looks like. We have a lot of great videos in here. We've done multiple of these Q&A webinars that you can watch. We've also done some jobinars you'll see in here, and those are sessions like this that we did with an employer, and that employer then gives all the details on their work camping jobs. So you'll find multiple videos in there: Amazon Camper Force, DigiCamp, Sugar Beet Harvest, some of the more popular work camping jobs that are out there. But if we scroll down a bit, yeah, sorry, we do quite a few videos here. We have one called And it's right here. It's called 12 Steps to Finding a Work Camping Job. And in this video here, I take a little bit over an hour and I go through much more thoroughly the 12 steps in finding a work camping job. And that's, to help you find the right job for you, because it's important. Many of you guys are going to be traveling hundreds, if not thousands of miles to that work camping opportunity if it is an on-location type job. And so you want to know as much as you can and have the best idea of what that experience will hopefully be like, so there's no surprises and it's more likely to be a positive experience. So hop over to our YouTube channel, 12 Steps to Finding a Work Camping Job. Again, that's going to go through it a little more thoroughly than I will do today in this webinar. And definitely peruse the other videos that we have available here in our YouTube channel. But just to kind of give you kind of a quicker, kind of run through, the first thing that you'll want to do is start perusing some of the different job listings that are out there. And so that's going to give you an idea of the different types of opportunities that are available, because you'll want to decide also where you want to go. That's maybe one of the more fun things to decide when preparing to find a work camping job. So deciding where you want to go, maybe kind of what type of job you're interested in seeking. Work camping to us is, and how we defined the term when we created it, is doing any kind of part-time or full-time work while living in an RV. So that, could be a lot of different things, also including running your own business out of your RV. That's definitely an option that a lot of work campers have enjoyed doing to support themselves in their travels. But most typically, you will see opportunities in the outdoor hospitality industry, campgrounds, RV parks, of course, rec areas. We have a contract with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, so their projects advertise their opportunities with us. So volunteer and paid positions with the Army Corps of Engineers. So lots of those kind of outdoor rec areas, but also establishments kind of around those tourist areas. Hotels, motels, restaurants, retail operations, tour companies. Then there's some fun stuff too. Like one of the pictures on the screen is of the Henleys. They were working at a Prairie Berry Winery, which is up in the Black Hills. So there's winery operations. There's property owners that are seeking an RVer to come and stay on their property just to kind of maintain and be on-site security. There's gate guarding positions where you're at a gate checking in and out of the trucks and people coming and going from that oil field location there. The sugar beet harvest, of course, is a popular one, very short-term job. You're working at the receiving stations of the harvest, not in the fields. Fulfillment centers like Amazon hires Workampers, and there's a few others. There are positions that are a little more mobile if you don't want to be in a specific location. Places like AGS and Southeast Publications, they make like the campground maps and advertising that you'll see when you go to a campground. So you as the work camper would be getting the advertising, selling the advertising that then goes in those materials, and that's a job where you can move around more. There's a kind of a real estate company for RV sales. It's called RV Realtor. You could work for them kind of anywhere you want to go. So definitely some remote opportunities, but mostly you're going to have like on location, being in a specific location for a period of time. So again, you're going to start looking at these job listings and going, oh my gosh, there's so many different things to do, so many places to go. So kind of narrow down where you think you want to be when you want to get started, as those are, the things that employers are going to want to know. So once you kind of narrow down those wants and needs, then you'll want to get your resume put together. And we'll talk a little bit more about resumes coming up in the next slide. But most often, the employer will want you to either email their resume, or maybe they'll have an online application process. So you'll just want to get started communicating with those employers, making those inquiries. And also, if you put a resume up in our system, you may be contacted by employers who are interested in you and are, offering a job and wanting to communicate with you about their jobs. So definitely want to get a resume put together, and we have lots of resources on that as well. I'll show you a little bit more about that here in a minute. So you'll start your communication with those employers. You'll want to develop a list of questions that you need to have the answers to. before determining if that opportunity is going to be right for you or not. We have some examples of those questions in our article index that Workampers have shared with us in the past, but you need to make sure of things like, is my RV going to fit on the RV site? Can I physically drive there with my RV? There might be a low bridge or a ferry to go across to get to the job. Like weird stuff like that will come up sometimes. If it's completely forested, you won't be able to have your satellite TV, and that might be a problem. Is it a small operation where it's just you guys working with the owners and no other work campers, or is it a large operation where you're going to have a bunch of other work campers that you're going to be working with to kind of have a nice little community there? Lots of different questions, but you'll want to be sure to kind of iron out, your duties, compensation, and just sort of the expectations of the opportunity. And so again, this is just to help you decide if that opportunity is right for you. Because not every job is right for every work camper, not every work camper is right for every job. You all have different wants and needs and skills and things you want to try and do. So kind of there's no one size fits all in this this community, this industry, and that's one thing that makes it pretty cool. So you'll get your questions answered, hopefully communicating back and forth with that employer. They're obviously going to have questions for you as well. And so in that process too, you'll get the information from them, but you'll also want to research that business, with our job listings, and I'll kind of just pull up an example for you guys. All right, let's head back to the browser. So this is our Hotline Jobs website page. We have job listings on here from the last 14 days, so they're always super current. And so here's an example of an ad here for the sugar beet harvest in Michigan. And you'll see with this ad below here, there's a line that says, view Praise Your Employer Awards, view Workamper Experiences postings. So our Workamper Experiences section, that has been gathering reviews on employers since 2007. So whenever there are reviews for an employer listed in that section, there will be a direct link to those reviews right with the job listing. So making it super easy for you to go and see what any work campers have said about a position that they had. And then side note, once you guys complete a work camping job, we hope you'll go in and share your experience with that employer as well, good, bad, otherwise, etc. Also the View Praise Your Employer Awards. So if a work camper had a positive experience with an employer, they can go in and just give them a little star award. It's not a rating system, but that's beneficial for you because oftentimes the work camper that awarded the star will agree to share their email address. And so then you will see the email address of that work camper, and it's basically a verified that this work camper worked for that employer. So you could then contact that work camper and say, hey, I saw you worked for ABC employer. How did that go? I have some questions. Would you be okay if we maybe had a call or something like that? And fellow work campers are usually just a super nice, friendly bunch. So oftentimes, you'll be able to connect and learn a lot that way. So we kind of have these community tools that help connect you with fellow work campers, again, just to learn from their experiences and, just connect. It's always great to connect with others of like mind. So you're going to research that employer in our system, maybe go on Google, go on Facebook, go on Yelp, whatever type of business it is, to try and read customer reviews, work camper reviews, etc. Just to kind of further due diligence on that opportunity. And once you've done that, if the employer does extend hey, we do want to hire you, let's move forward. And if you guys are like, all right, cool, everything looks good, we can agree to that, let's do it. Then we recommend at that point in time getting a work agreement determined, whether you put it together, hopefully the employer puts it together, but not all employers will do this for you. Most of the time they will. So a work agreement's not a contract exactly. It's basically just like a letter of understanding. It kind of lays out the main expectations, start dates, end dates, compensation, how that's going to be provided, expected duties. If you guys, kind of negotiated something specific, like maybe the wage is different than what they advertise for, or, the person that you talked to agreed for you to come in at a certain date or take certain time off or have certain days off, things like that. Let's get that laid out, in a document and have both parties get that signed before all systems are go. And that's just, a page that you guys then have covering those bases. So if you do go to that opportunity and things aren't going the way that it was planned, and it's going in a way that's negative for you, you then have that as a communication tool to go to your manager, supervisor, owner, whoever, and say, hey, this is what we agreed to, this is what's happening, what can we do, whether it's a compromise or what needs to happen, how can we get back on this same page again? So again, it's kind of just a way to get back on the same page and make sure everybody remembers, because I don't necessarily remember what I did last week. So I may not remember what I agreed to 6 months ago when I was interviewing you and working out this agreement. So anyway, it's just another tool that we recommend Workampers get. Just again, helping eliminate surprises, because we don't want surprises. So once all systems are go, stay in touch with that employer. And that's one of the questions that some of you guys had is, well, the next question actually, here, I'll go ahead and click back to our PowerPoint and we'll just kind of merge right into that. It's kind of a good segue into our next question. How early should I apply for a job? So it's going to vary. There are some employers who begin their recruiting well in advance, and there are others who do their recruiting sort of last minute. So right now we are seeing help wanted ads for summer 2022, because there are businesses that are still hurting for folks to come and help them get through this summer. We're also seeing ads now for summer 2023. So there are some employers who are recruiting even a year in advance to the start date of their positions. So you always want to be kind of keeping an eye on the ads that are coming through our system. And so what's super cool with our online hotline system is we email out the new job listings each weekday. And it's the full job listing in the email. It's not truncated. You don't have to click a link, or you can't see what it is, whatever. Each day it's called our hotline email. So that goes out to our members, the full job listing there. So you'll see all the new ads for that day. That goes to our Diamond and Platinum members. So you'll always just kind of want to be perusing that. You never know when kind of that perfect opportunity is going to come up. And that's why we have a yearly membership. And sorry, I forgot to mention that. It's a yearly membership organization. Our Diamond level is the most popular level. It's $47 for the whole year. And it comes with a boatload of stuff. And so you'll be getting those hotline emails each day. You also can set up what's called our job alerts. So if you're like, I just really want to be in Montana next summer, you can go into the job alerts, select Montana, and turn it on for Montana. Then that way, anytime a new ad is posted to our hotline for Montana, you are immediately going to receive that full job listing right to your email inbox. So just another way to kind of stay on top of getting notified of new stuff that's coming in and be one of the first to see it. And the hotline system is in addition to some other job listing avenues that we have. Many folks know us for our bi-monthly magazine. We do still publish, physically mail that at this time. And we also have, it goes online on our website. So our members can go to the online magazine when logged in at workamper.com. And in there, there's over 90 issues of our magazine. Each issue has help wanted ads organized by state. So if you go to page 3 of each issue, you'll see that table of contents to know Montana, page, whatever. And you can go right to that Montana page to look at Montana ad listings if Montana is your jam. So lots of job listings there in the magazine as well. And so that kind of all connects as like with our magazine issues. So our summer issues typically have summer, fall, and winter jobs. And then the winter issues of our magazine typically have spring and summer jobs. So oftentimes you'll see employers probably on average 3 to 6 months before the start date of their jobs, you'll see them advertising. So if you are preparing to get started work camping. When you're about probably 8 months out, that's when I would really dig into getting your resume put together, looking good, and more seriously, even going through those job listings, starting to, kind of flag ones that most interest you for the time period that you believe you're going to be starting for. But flip side of the coin, like I said, there are many businesses right now still seeking work campers for their 2022 season. So if you're wanting to do a work camping job starting in the next couple weeks, there are opportunities out there for you. So you can wait. All right, let's see. Last year, because we do surveys from time to time just to kind of see what work campers are doing. And let's see, I believe it was 40% of work campers had their summer season job lined up before the end of 2021. So then I think 20% of work campers said they were staying at the same job, so they weren't going to be searching for a new job. So then that left another 40% of work campers in January, February, March, April, who would be searching then for their summer job, likely starting April, May. Now, there is kind of the two main seasons, kind of April, May to September, October. Again, if we're looking in that outdoor hospitality industry, that's going to be certainly more of that structure. But there are opportunities that exist outside of those general seasons. There are shorter term stuff, longer term jobs, kind of and everything in between. So, but that kind of gives you guys an idea a little bit of kind of the seasonality. But I would recommend to all work campers, like I said, keep your job alerts turned on for the states you want to work in, coming up. Keep watching that daily hotline with all the job listings coming through. And then we can talk about the resume. So does a couple need one resume or two? If you are a two-person team, if you're both going to be applying to that same employer, usually one resume is just fine. If an employer has an online application process, it's likely you both will need to do the online application process, usually because that's just kind of how their back-end systems work. But one resume is usually just fine. And where can we submit a resume to get viewed by employers? Well, you have come to the right place, my friends. All right, so we're back here. Oh, and let me just hit on this real quick because we just launched this this last week. So on our hotline jobs page right now, we have the most powerful search options now for work campers to narrow down and find the jobs that they're looking for. So solo work campers, if you're just seeking employers that will consider solos, you can check the box here to view only the ad listings of employers that consider solos. You can come in here and select, the states that you want to work in, and select solos considered at the same time. You can come in here if you're looking for an RV site, you can check that box. If you don't have an RV and you're looking for other housing, whether it be like a park model, dormitory, house, apartment, something that's not an RV site, you can check that box. If you're looking for jobs where you're paid for every hour worked, you can check that box. If you are just looking to work in trade for an RV site, you're not looking to have any income coming to you that might be reported, that you may have to put on your tax return, etc. Check that no compensation available box. And then if you're looking to start work in July, you can select July. And so lots of different options here to kind of plug in to narrow down those job listings more so to what you guys are looking for. And we're requiring all of our employers to provide that information with their ads. So it's not like some ads will have that information and some won't. So when you're filling out that search criteria, you can be assured that it's searching all of the job listings, not just the job listings of employers that remember to include that stuff in their ad text. Okay, so pretty powerful. We're super excited about this. So hope you guys really enjoy and can take advantage of that. Again, this is our hotline job listings page, and this is available to our Diamond and Platinum yearly members. Okay, but we're talking about resume. So this is our awesome applicant's resume builder. It takes you step by step through building a resume geared towards work camping. Kind of takes the work out. It makes it easier. Okay, all of that. All right, so as you guys can see here, it's a step by step. You put in your contact information, RV type. You'll put in your availability date when you're ready, wanting to start work. If you have a season preference, you can select type of work settings, salary, benefits, schedule. Locations is obviously the states or Canadian provinces that you want to work in. In the work history section here, you can put in, if you don't have any work camping job history, that's totally fine. You can put in like other jobs that you've done, especially if any of your past jobs are relevant to the types of work camping jobs that you want to apply for. So you can put other stuff in here. I would just discourage you guys from listing like every single job that you've had since you were 14. You don't want that section to get too long, too wordy, too cumbersome for employers to maneuver through. The Sell You section is where you can type in whatever you want about yourself. And if this section's a little bit intimidating, up here on the right, we do have a view sample. And so you can kind of model off of that sample if you would like to. We recommend putting in a couple photos of yourself, headshot, picture of your RV, picture of your pets, full-length picture of yourself, etc. Many employers do want to see photos since you're not going to be doing an in-person interview. You have the option to also embed a video. So if you record a video, we recommend just doing a short few-minute video introducing yourself, saying how awesome and excited you are to be a part of this work camping community and what you can bring to the table for the employer. Then we can embed that video on your resume as well. So once you have your resume put together, you can print it out physically if you will be going in person to communicate with an employer. You can email it to anyone out there. And when you email it through our system, it keeps track. So you'll see the date and the email address that you sent your resume to. So if it was like, oh, when did I send that to XYZ employer? How long has it been? You can go back into that email section to see if it's been a couple days or a month, just to remember. We do recommend following up with employers once you send out your initial communication. If you're applying for a job that's like starting months in advance, maybe give the employer a couple weeks to get back to you before doing a check-in. If you're applying for a position that's starting, within the next month or like right away, I would wait maybe a day, maybe 2 business days before saying, hey, just wanted to see if you got my email or got my voicemail or whatever. Definitely be sure to follow up with those employers. Many of them are busy and have a lot going on, and oftentimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they say. So you may need to be a squeaky wheel. You can also export your resume to a PDF file. And many online application processes will have a section where you can upload a resume. And so that PDF version will upload very nicely to most online application processes. So once you have your resume put together, we compile all of that in a nice little format for you with the pictures and the video, sell yourself section here. And then we scroll on down, and here's all of the rest of the information that you guys filled out in those previous sections. So if you are a 2-person team, feel free to put in the data for both of you guys in this section, and it'll be good. So with our resume database also, our resume database isn't open to the internet. Only our paid employer members can search our resume database. So your contact information is not out there displayed to anyone on the internet to find, okay? So you can feel secure when putting your information into this resume. If you are using free sites that anyone can get to online, I would recommend kind of reserving and keeping some of that information very minimal out there, because you never know who's lurking. So your resume is in our secure database. As long as you guys have updated your resume within the last 6 months, it'll be out there to be found by employers. If you do accept a job, or maybe you're just working on your resume, trying to build it and get it going, just check that box to hide my resume from employers' view. That way they can't find it in the database, and you can be playing around and doing whatever you want in there. But the more often you update your resume, the more frequently you show up at the top of employer search results. So yeah, this can be working for you guys 24/7, year-round. Once you accept one Workamping job, come in here, update your availability date, your settings, your locations, save that bad boy, and let it work for you for the next time period that you're looking for those Workamper jobs. So definitely a super easy tool to utilize. Again, this is available to our Diamond and Platinum members. We do have a free trial available if you guys want to check out the Diamond membership before jumping right in. So you can go through the information on this page if you like, but you get started down here at the bottom, putting in your first name, last name, and email, and that'll take you in to finish up the trial process and immediately give you access to the tools that we've been looking at and much more. So that's a little bit on resumes. Let's pop back in. We'll head back to the PowerPoint. Next up, how do you get a job if you've never done it before? And like we kind of talked about, Workamping is a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different jobs out there. So there really isn't any certain set of skills or certain thing that you need to have done to be successful at this. So don't let that scare you or concern you or keep you from doing things. Most employers are willing to train. They're just looking for someone who's going to come to them that's excited to be there, willing to put in their best, to be flexible, and just be a team player. So if you can present yourself that way, you're already off to a good start. But also, it's likely that you've done things, whether it was in your career, past work experiences, or even just kind of in your personal and community life, that have given you skills or some experience that can apply to these different Workamping jobs. If you had a home and you maintained your lawn and you had landscaping and a garden and you kind of took care of those things, then you have some sort of maintenance and landscaping experience. And things like if you maybe were like a coach of your kids' sports teams, or maybe you led a church group, you have some organization capabilities, some leadership experience, things like that. So think a little bit about just your whole life in general and what you've done, and consider those skills that you got from even simple things like that, those activities, and see how those could integrate into these opportunities. And oftentimes these are pretty entry-level positions. Working in a campground, working in the office, the hardest part might be learning the campground reservation software. If you've been using a computer for a long time and you're really comfortable doing stuff on a computer, getting to know that reservation software system probably won't be that big of a hurdle for you. And Workampers have said kind of once you learn one reservation software, the others are just a lot easier to learn after that. So and know yourselves too, guys. So that's something to think about as well. If you are someone who enjoys being around people, you like talking and communicating with people, helping people out, if people are frustrated, that doesn't just make you want to hide away in a hole. You want to be able to handle that. If you're okay dealing with people, then positions like working in a campground office or running a register at a restaurant or a front desk at a hotel, those are going to be the types of opportunities that you would be a good fit at. If you are someone who's like, if I never had to talk to another person ever, that would be the best. Then let's look for an opportunity where you're behind the scenes of things. Maybe you go work for a concessionaire at a national park and you just work in the warehouse and you just receive inventory, put it on shelves. The only thing you talk to is a forklift and, shirts and tchotchkes. Then, hey, awesome. So lots of different stuff out there for people to do. Some interact with the public, some don't. Some have more specialized skills, many don't. So don't get holed up in thinking that, oh, I can't do this because I don't have experience. Again, just go in with an open mind and an open heart, and you're gonna get there. All right, Suggestions for solo work campers who are just getting started. There's this misconception that most employers don't hire solos. In our experience, 60 to 80% of employers, it just kind of depended at the time, the employers that were advertising, consider solos. So I would say most employers do consider solos for their opportunities. So we've known many solo work campers. There seems to be more solo women than solo gentlemen out there RVing. But there are opportunities out there for sure. Many of the solos, we have a podcast. It's called the Workamper Show podcast. I think we have 178 episodes now. Each episode, we interview a work camper or an employer or someone else in the RV industry. So if you go to the Workamper Show, well, it's just workampershow.com, or in your podcast app, just search for the Workamper Show. You'll find many episodes. Many of them are interviews with solo work campers. And so they'll talk all about how they got started work camping and how they do it and stuff like that. So that's a really good resource to check out to kind of hear from others who are living this lifestyle and get the details on many work camping opportunities. All right, so we know many solos, their jobs are lined up back to back to back to back to back. They've never had any trouble finding a position. So if you're proactive with your job hunting, if you've really taken the time to create a good resume, a good first impression, and you're flexible, positive person, then you're going to be good. So just set yourself up for success in that way. Go through the videos we have in our media library. Lots of good stuff there to help you guys out. Lots of articles in our article index for getting that resume shining bright. And just, again, getting confidence in moving forward, interviewing, work agreements, etc. So solos, go for it. If you do see an ad and the ad doesn't mention that solos are considered, but you're like, this would be perfect for me, apply. It's not going to hurt. The worst they can say is no, or just not respond to you at all. So if it is the thing you want to do, then reach out to them and be like, hey, look, I'm actually a solo, but I really think I'd be a good fit for you. You know, would you be able to consider me? Da, 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 da. Go for it. Can't hurt, right? All right. Next up. Okay. Are there work camping opportunities for Canadians? Short answer, yes-ish. So back in the good old days, probably about 10 years or so ago, we used to have a very booming Workamper Canada section. We had a gal who spearheaded it, and we had lots of information on job listings for Canada. But the government, or the higher up folks in Canada, puts pressure on the businesses in Canada to only hire local people or Canadian residents. And if they found that they're not hiring Canadian residents and they can't, justify why they're not, then they will be fined. And so that's kind of crappy. So it is more challenging now for US citizens to go into Canada and find work camping opportunities. I know that's not exactly the question, but I'm just telling you that's part of the challenge. And thusly, we've had less Canadian employers, like it's really just gone down over the years advertising. There's just not a lot of Canadian businesses and Canadian work campers utilizing the online options that are out there now. So there's really not one good source for Canadian businesses and work campers to connect with each other. I wish there was, we've tried, but it just hasn't made sense for the businesses and the work campers. So there are opportunities for Canadians to come down to the US and explore the US while work camping. The National Park Service has a volunteer in parks program, and they'll accept non-US citizens. There's also nonprofit organizations that can have non-US citizens. You can also look into getting a work visa. So on our website, there's a FAQ link up in the top right or underneath the work camping menu item. We do have a couple questions about dealing with Canada, Canadians. So check out that FAQ, and we have some links in there and some more specific resources for you there. But Unfortunately, there's really not as much as there used to be, but maybe someday. Okay. Are there any jobs available for someone with minor mobility problems? Absolutely. So again, we kind of talked about like there's a huge range of opportunities that are out there. Some of them are going to be very vigorous. So, you know, working at Amazon Camper Force, or maybe working at an amusement park running rides. If you're someone who needs to be seated most of the time, can't be on their feet, doesn't have like a lot of motion available, then let's not apply for those types of opportunities, you know, because that's just going to be too hard on your body. But opportunities where maybe you're working in a gatehouse, behind a desk at a campground, where you have the option to maybe most oftentimes be seated or be able to take more breaks to sit down, there are definitely opportunities out there for you guys. So just be upfront when you're communicating with an employer, and it's tough. So some employers are really great at writing their help wanted ads, and some of them you're like, I kind of know where you are, but is this even a job? And you're just like, what? So you're going to see quite a variation in the ads that are out there. We try to coach them, but they don't always listen. So you'll have a really good idea of what the opportunity is about, and sometimes you'll really have to milk that information out of the employer to get kind of the full details on if you'll be, you know, physically capable, if it's something you do want to take on. But there are certainly employers that can make accommodations for you. It's just going to depend on the operation and the business level and the actual facilities themselves, and just kind of what you're capable of. So definitely be communicating about that. Even if you don't put that on your resume, that's definitely something to bring up in the like the interview communication process with that employer. Alrighty. What kind of RV should I get? Does it need to be a certain age? Does it need to be a certain length? What do I get? So great question. Lots of people have this question. So you need to get the RV that is right for you, bottom line. So whether it's a motorized unit or a towable unit, or you're just utilizing maybe like a truck or a van and a tent, whatever's going to work for you budget-wise, what you're physically capable of handling, and what you like. You need to get what's right for you. Then find the opportunities that will work for you. So don't get an RV thinking I need to have this to get certain work camping jobs. Please don't. Put yourself first, your needs and wants first. There will be some limitations, but there's really not a lot. So there are some employers, like we have a few RV resorts that are motorized units only. So work campers that they hire have to have maybe even a Class A motorhome. They may not even accept Class Cs. So there's going to be like some that are like that. There are some locations that will say they have a 10-year age rule. But if you do have a unit that's older than 10 years old, but it's kept up nice, like it still looks good, the graphics aren't falling off, and your awnings, you know, not like this and stuff like that. Like, you guys often keep these rigs looking real nice. Once you send your photo to them and say, hey, here's some pictures of my unit, you know, we take really good care of it. I know she's an oldie, but she's a goodie. Then they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So that age thing is really just kind of something that they'll put out there to try to keep out the rigs that have the awning that looks like this, or, you know, all the paint is peeling off of it and it's brown now instead of white, etc. Those opportunities are probably, or like those types of employers with those kind of qualifications are likely going to be campgrounds or RV resorts, places where the work campers' RVs are within eyesight of the customers. So that's something else too. If you have maybe a more alternative RV, find opportunities where, you know, the work campers aren't integrated with the customers. So like another example is like Bolin Travel Centers. They operate but many travel centers around New Mexico and Arizona along the interstates. Like the RV sites are tucked away and kind of hidden behind the travel centers. And so it doesn't matter what kind of RV you have, because the customer's not walking around in front of them all the time. So that's something to look for. So age-wise, again, just go with what you can. Length-wise, again, you guys need to get what you want to get. There are some length restrictions. If you've been RV camping before, I'm sure you've encountered this. Older RV parks and campgrounds are usually where those restrictions come into play, just because those campgrounds were built when RVs were much smaller. They weren't 40 feet or 42 feet, long. RVs were just smaller and narrower before we had slides. That's why you go to campgrounds and your slides are this far apart. You're like, what? It's because that campground was built before slides existed on RVs. So you may want to kind of stay at the 30 feet or under if you think you want to be in places like Forest Service campgrounds, National Park Service campgrounds if you want to volunteer for them. Some state parks will have limitations like that. But again, get what's going to be right for you, what you can physically handle. If you need that 40-foot tow hauler because you want to bring your motorcycle or your 4x4 or your golf cart with you, get it. You will find opportunities that are going to work for you. Even just thinking about the national parks, oftentimes the concessionaires that hire work campers operate outside in like the gateway communities to the national parks, and they are less likely to have those kinds of restrictions. So Yellowstone General Stores specifically, they contract with the National Park Service and lease RV sites that are not in the public camping areas. So the RV sites that Delaware North leases, many of those RV sites can accommodate 40 or 42-foot RVs, and they have full hookups, where the National Park Service campgrounds available to just normal camping customers don't have hookups and are likely going to be maybe that 30-foot limitation. So in my opinion, from what I've seen over the years, there is more flexibility in this length business for work campers than kind of the general camping aspect of it. So again, go with what you like and what you can handle and what fits your budget. Bottom line. All righty. Okay, good question here. Haven't seen this question before. Are these work camping contracts at will, meaning we can be let go at any time for any reason? And so short answer is pretty much yes. So I did a little bit of Googling. I mean, I understood what at will was, but just to be more specific, 49 states follow the at will employment. So it's the employer's ability to dismiss an employee for any reason that is without having to establish just cause, and without warning, as long as the reason is not illegal, like firing because of the employee's race, religion, or sexuality. So when an employee is acknowledged as being hired at will, courts deny the employee any claim for loss resulting from the dismissal. The rule is justified by its proponents on the basis that an employee may be similarly entitled to leave their job without reason or warning. So yep, that's pretty much how it goes. So we talked about the work agreement at the beginning. And again, that's not really a contract per se. If you took it to court, I don't know that it would really help you too much, maybe a little. I've honestly I've heard work campers say they were gonna sue an employer, but I've never actually heard of this actually taking place and going through and getting an end result. So I don't know that that really occurs a lot. What I do know is there are stinker employers out there and there are stinker work campers out there. Stinkers on both sides. So going back to before when we talked all about this due diligence, interviewing, researching, getting a work agreement, etc., we're going to try to set up our cards as much as possible so there's less likely of, something being kicked out from under us and falling apart. So hopefully you can kind of weed out those stinkers ahead of time. But yes, there are certainly times where we've heard from work campers where they went to a work camping job, and when they got there, the employer was like, oh, we had these other work campers that worked for us before return, so actually we don't have space for you anymore. Or, you know, they get there and ownership has completely changed for that business operation and they don't even know who you are or what you're doing there. Like crazy stuff like that happens. So that also comes back to if you are accepting a position that's going to be starting months in advance, you want to keep in touch with that employer between the time of accepting the job and going to that job. And I would 100% recommend that you have a conversation with that employer before you pull your RV out on the road to head to that job, especially if it's hundreds or thousands of miles away. Get that confirmation before you even get 1 mile down the road towards that opportunity, because you want to make sure it's going to be there when you get there. And again, the less surprises, the better. So stay in touch with those employers. We say the same thing to our employers. Stay in touch with your Workampers, because guess what? There's Workampers who will accept multiple jobs for the same time period, then go to one of them and not tell the other employers at all. And so the employer thinks they're fully staffed, they go to start their season, and all of a sudden Joe and Sally are no-shows. They don't answer the phone, they don't reply to emails, they don't reply to texts, gone. And now they're out, you know, 2 of their 4 or 6 Workampers, and they're in a bind. So there are pickles, like I said, on both sides. And that work agreement, as like I said, it's really kind of just a communication tool. There's no guarantee that everything's going to be perfect and work out exactly wonderful. There's, you know, issues may come up with management, between you and management, or it's the management is not good to you and you need to get on out of there. You know, Workampers always say your home's on wheels. So if it's not right for you, it's time to move on. And we don't encourage the whole pack up and leave in the middle of the night without notice. We hope that if things are not going right for you at that work camping opportunity, you will take the time to, you know, try to talk to management or ownership, again, to see if things can get back on track for you. And then hopefully you can finish out that commitment, as sometimes there are season end bonuses and some things that would benefit you if you are able to complete that contract. But of course, there are situations if you feel threatened or scared, whether it's because of a coworker, management, etc., and you need to get out of there just for your sanity or your safety, then yeah, get on out of there. So again, the more research and stuff we can do ahead of time, the more often this stuff won't come up. Work camping is awesome, but it's not always rainbows and puppy dog tails. Sometimes you can encounter some challenges. So don't expect that that's what you're going to get, because when we, you know, assume bad things are going to happen, bad things are more likely to happen. So again, we're going to move forward with positivity, and we're going to do our work to find the opportunities that are going to be a best match for us, okay? And we're here to help you guys with that. All right, this is kind of more of a general RV lifestyle question. Options for medical health insurance. And we have a good friend named Kyle. Let me click over to my browser here. All right, so I would recommend nomadinsuranceGroup.com. And this is a service created by Kyle Henson. Super awesome guy, been RVing for many, many years. You can work with him to find out what insurance is right for you. Because there's a variety of options that are out there, differing coverage, differing costs, etc. I am certainly not an insurance expert, but Kyle is. And so he's going to be the one to go through. He's got good information here on the website that kind of tells you what these different plans are, and will then help you find the plan that's going to be right for you. Because everybody's different with their medical needs and their budgets, things like that. So it's really hard for me to say you should do X, because there's just so many variables here. So I would hop over to Nomad Insurance Group. This is going to be the best resource that's out there for you. Also, we recorded a webinar a while back with Kyle. So this is something, you guys, that we did kind of outside of our Workamper news realm. It's called the Dreamer's Journey, and this is it's an online course there's 50 some videos in here. You can read through all of this, but down here it lists kind of what we cover in all of the videos. And all the videos are like 30 to 90 minutes in length. I think you noticed we're not short on talking and sharing here. So, but we cover things like choosing the right RV, timeline for getting started. If you're going to be a full-time RVer, what is a domicile? How to select your domicile. We also talk about goal setting, building the best you, because like I said, you got to prepare mentally up here. And especially if you are moving into this lifestyle as a two-person team, couple, family, you guys all need to be on the same page with this thing. And so going through this kind of stuff together so that you're all learning and you're all understanding, and then hopefully you'll be able to move into it or not. It could be you guys dig into this a little more and one of you's like, this is not going to be right for us. Then we need to kind of backpedal and then do some more research and rethink things. But this is rvdreamersjourney.com. Again, 50 some videos, and we go through this stuff more in depth. So here's, like we did one video, health insurance options for RVers, but we talk about budgeting, maintaining your RV, personal safety on the road, how to find a job. We talk about RVing to Alaska, interviewing, all kinds of stuff. So this is $29.95. It gives you access for a whole year to all the videos that are in there to watch as often as you want. So that is out there online for you guys if you want to check it out, rvdreamersjourney.com. But again, that we led to that because of Kyle with the Nomad Insurance Group. And that's why the Dreamers Journey, it is an additional kind of separate course that we created because we worked with a bunch of different experts in the industry. It wasn't just us. So there was a lot of cost involved for us to get all of that going. So that's why it is not just included with our membership at this time. Okay, all right, let's pop back in. Where's my mouse? Okay, let's head back over. Oh, I can see the slide, but you guys can't see the slide, sorry. Okay, I went, oh, there's another question here. Are there high paying jobs to help me afford this health insurance? Because the right plan for you might end up being, you know, multiple hundreds of dollars a month, which is just like, oh my gosh, why is our healthcare system like that? But hopefully if you are doing this work camping thing, maybe you're, you know, living a more healthy lifestyle, keeping active, keeping going, keep that brain sharp, keep that body going, less likely, hopefully, to have those health issues. But are there high paying jobs to help me afford it? Absolutely. So work camping, the opportunities in the work camping world, we have seen an increase in the compensation over the last few years. Kind of similar to just kind of other industries in general, there's just been an increase. Businesses are having a harder time finding workers, and you can't just print workers out of thin air. So the only thing they can do sometimes is kind of throw some more money at it and see what happens. So, but that benefits the work camper oftentimes. We used to see kind of an average hourly wage of maybe like $8 to $10 an hour, but now I would say it's more like $9 to $17 an hour with most work camping opportunities, with a lot of them ranging into like the $15 to $17 an hour. And there are opportunities even to make more than that as well. And some employers, once you start kind of going through the job listings, you're going to see it's going to kind of vary. Some employers, you are just working in trade for an RV site and other non-monetary perks. Some opportunities, you'll work X number of hours for your RV site and perks, and then extra hours will be paid an hourly wage. And then yet we have employers that will pay you wages for every hour worked and provide the RV site and other perks at no cost to you. And then there's other employers that do salary or commissions or stipend, some other stuff like that. So when you are looking at these jobs and they're providing you an RV site and other non-monetary perks, those items have a value to you. So you need to do the math on a work camping job. You might read the job listing and just be like, oh, it's $15 an hour. Great. But it's also providing you an RV site at no cost. So what is the value of that RV site? It could be anywhere from $200 to $1,500 a month, depending upon the location, amenities, other perks, etc. Because if they're also providing electricity, they're providing laundry, they're providing Wi-Fi, you know, maybe you get propane at cost or free propane, that's a lot of money not coming out of your pocket, you know, that we would normally have in our everyday lives, living in a house or an apartment, paying rent, paying a mortgage, putting gas in the car to drive to and from work every day. A lot of these work camping opportunities, you are living where you work, you are not commuting, you are not cranking out the cash for gas all the time to get you to and from work. So there's a lot of sort of like, not hidden, but like not thought about value in these compensation packages that the employers are providing. So with some of these opportunities, when you factor in an hourly wage plus the RV side and the other things that come along with it, a lot of these employers are paying $20 to $30 an hour sometimes. So it really can be a good way for you guys to make some income on top of saving on a lot of your costs. So there's an article in our article index at workamper.com about doing the math. And it kind of goes over some different scenarios, and then it also provides a worksheet that you could then print out. So when you're communicating with an employer, you can enter in the different dollar amounts, because you may need to ask the employer like what the value is of the RV site, and you know what's an average electricity bill for your work campers. I think typically, you know, like a couple would probably spend 20 bucks every 2 weeks or so to do laundry at like a coin laundromat. So you might have to do a little fact finding to get all of the details to do the math to determine what your hourly wage actually equates to. But that's something that's going to be important for you to do in that process of interviewing, information gathering on a job, doing the math to see if that compensation is going to work for you for your budget and all the things that you got to pay for to be you. All right. Oh, sorry, I just thought of this. Coming up at the end of June, that's, well, basically next week, the July-August issue of our bi-monthly magazine is coming out. In that issue, one of our featured articles is high-paying jobs for work campers. So we list, I think it's like 8 or 9 different employers that are kind of in that upper range of paying work campers. So that issue will go online for our Diamond and Platinum members, likely Monday of next week. That would be like June 28th, I think it is, if you're watching the recording of this. So that'll be active then. Okay. I know we are at about an hour, but we've just got a couple more slides here to get through, and then we'll just wrap things up. Are there short-term jobs? Yes, there are. Not a whole lot. We kind of talked a little bit about this already. The most short-term job that I've ever seen, I think, was 4 days. And that was a state park was just trying something new. You could stay for 4 days or as long as you want and everything in between. So they were just kind of doing what they could to try and get volunteers. Other short-term jobs are going to be maybe 2 weeks in length. That would be something like the sugar beet harvest is that short. Events, so like the Houston Rodeo hires work campers, and that's like a 10-day event, I think. The Albuquerque Hot Air Balloon Festival, there's a strawberry festival somewhere that hires work campers. So kind of these short term, maybe it's a weekend, maybe it's a week-long event, and they hire you on to, you know, help park people or take tickets at the gate, etc. But most often you're looking at probably a 3-month minimum, up to 6 months or longer. Again, especially if you're in that outdoor hospitality industry realm, they're going to want you for at least a little bit of time. But honestly, and everybody's different, but what we usually see is folks who are just starting out in the RV lifestyle, whether they're going full time or just really able to put a lot of time into their RV travels, they think they want to move around a lot. Oh, we got to see all the things. And so they get going and they do 2 days here and 3 days here, and want to do 5 days here and a week here and a week there and a week there. That's work, you guys. Like, it gets tiring, and you're seeing so much stuff so quick. You're like, what did we do? Where did we go? Like, it just becomes too much. I know because I've done it myself. I did the exact same thing. We did a lot of travels in like 6 months, and we look back and at pictures sometimes, and we were like, I don't even remember doing that. Do you remember doing that? Like, oh, so what we see with work campers is like starting out, folks are like, I just want short-term jobs and we're gonna move around all the time. And then like the longer they're in it, they're like, oh, we can come and stay for 6 months, right? And the employer's like, yeah, of course. And they're like, oh, thank God. So, but it's gonna depend. Everybody's different. You guys can do it however you wanna do it. But the cool thing about these kind of longer term work camping jobs, you know, multiple months at a time, you really get to experience that area. You can try out multiple restaurants and get to know the bartender at your favorite, you know, drinking spot. You're going to be able to, you know, if the employer provides you with a discount card for the cool tourist stuff in the area, you're going to get to do multiple of those different things, tours or hikes or boating or whatever. You'll get to do stuff, and maybe you do it more than once. Like you discover that you really love Sol Duck Falls in Olympic National Park. You could go there like every day or once every week to watch the salmon jumping up the falls and be like, oh, there's way more salmon this week than last week, and just see how the location changes as the days go by. Anyway, so it really helps you just appreciate an area and kind of integrate into that area a little bit more, and just helps you appreciate it, and you don't feel so rushed, in my opinion. That's just personal experience and what we've heard from other work campers too. But again, this is your lifestyle, and so you should schedule it and rock and roll how you want to do it, okay? Oh, sorry, a little more on this slide here. Are there opportunities to fill in for work campers who leave for vacation obligations? I haven't seen that like specifically advertised for, so I can't really say absolutely yes or absolutely no. It's going to depend on the employer and the type of opportunity. Like if they, you know, if the employer has workers who were, you know, working in the campground office and they need to take 2 weeks off for a wedding or something like that. If you know the reservation software, have lots of experience working in a campground office, it's going to be easier for you to kind of plug and play. But if you're like, I've never worked in a campground office in my life, but I'd be happy to come work for you for 10 days, they're going to be like, yeah, but like it's going to take you like probably 4 or 5 days just to kind of get in the flow of thing. And then you're only here for 5 more days and then we're done. And I got to do all the employee paperwork to have you come in for that short period of time. So if you're expecting to maybe be like a W-2 employee situation, there might be more hold up from employers saying yes to that. If you're like want to operate as a small business and contract with those employers and be like, we're short-term work campers LLC and we want to come and help you out just for a short period of time. We are awesome at this and this and this and this and this, and we'll get you covered for that period of time. It won't take us any time to train and we're great. And I mean, assuming all of that is true, then they may be more so up for that, because then you're just going to invoice that employer for that period of time and they'll pay the invoice and away we go. So that could work out in that kind of scenario. I don't know, just kind of brainstorming and throwing stuff out there. It can't hurt to ask, but again, I can't say that that's going to be like, yeah, sure, you could do that anywhere. All right, so those were the questions that were submitted ahead of time. Like I said, we were able to fill the hour. I'm never short on answers and things to tell you guys, but again, with Workamper News, we are the best Workamper toolkit out there. We want you guys to have an amazing time exploring this country in your RV and either saving lots of money or making lots of money while doing it. Tons of businesses are out there looking for Workampers now. Please feel free to become a member anytime. You can go to our website, lots of free stuff to peruse through, but click that join link to get started as a member. Again, very minimal membership fee. We work with both employers and the work campers, so we support both sides and have enjoyed it for many, many years now. And we look forward to helping you guys too. So feel free to reach out to us, give our office a call, send us an email. If we didn't get your question answered today, we can definitely do that another way. And yeah, we wish you guys the best, safe travels, and have some awesome, happy work camping experiences. All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye-bye.